Yeah, I see World War III.
Have you not seen anything about that?
Well, I just know America currency is not being in the power right now. So, the world runs off money.
You know that for a fact?
Yes, sir, because a lot of countries is not taking our currency no more. And they're going to our socialism brothers on the other side. And,
Communists.
They're China communists.
All right, they're saying the World War III is finna happen, so let's go ahead and get into the video.
They're going to pick Taj first.
I promise you, I'm AWOL.
There's a small volcanic island off the southern coast of Japan called Mageshima. Nobody lives here. But here's footage from January 2023 of construction workers arriving to this island. Their task is to build a couple of runways on the island and some storage facilities for ammunition. The Japanese government has been paying local fishermen to stay away from this island. That's because they're turning it into a military base. The island is being built by Japan, but one of its main purposes has to do with the United States. American fighter jets and aircraft carriers have had to do their drills and practices down here on this island. But now they're able to station at this island, moving them much closer to this ocean and to one country in particular.
Yeah.
Mageshima is just one of many islands that are being loaded up with military hardware, most of it coming from the United States. It's part of this chain of militarized islands, an effort of defense or aggression, depending on how you look at it. It's a line that centers on Taiwan. And it's what one official was referring to when they said that 2023 is likely to stand as the most transformative year in U.S. force posture in this region in a generation. This line is a symbol of the rising tensions between global superpowers. And I want to show you why this is happening now and what it means for the future of this conflict.
This is unlike anything the U.S. Navy has done since World War II.
Tensions are rising in one of the most hotly contested regions on the planet, the South China Sea.
Okay, so this document from the U.S. Department of Defense. This document is called the National Defense Strategy of the United States of America, which also includes the Nuclear Posture Review and Missile Defense Review. It's basically a report that they release every 4 years that gives us an understanding of what the U.S. military is up to, what they care about. But this year's is more detailed than normal. The document focuses a lot on China.
If China threatens our sovereignty, it concerns directly with China.
The DoD says that China, quote, remains our most consequential strategic competitor for coming decades. Why? Because, the Pentagon says, China is bullying its neighbors to, quote, reshape the region and the international system to fit its authoritarian preferences. Now, remember that the United States,
They said we run shit now.
loads on its military, has set the rules for our global order, how we trade, what political systems we favor, who participates in the system, and now we see a country that wants to dethrone them, to create a new system based on other values and other rules. And what scares the US military is that China is rapidly modernizing and expanding their military. China's military is growing incredibly fast. Like, they deploy the equivalent of an entire new British Navy every 4 years. Every 4 years, it's like new British Navy, like new Royal Navy every 4 years. Yeah, they're just growing very quickly. This report is concerned about China's growing strength and military footprint. How China is coercing its neighbors, disregarding ocean boundaries, testing missiles, bullying fishing vessels in other countries' waters, building islands and military bases on those islands, and flying over other countries' airspace. And especially in Taiwan, the island that China claims as their own and where the globe gets nearly all of their advanced microchips, which is a topic I made an entire video about. The point is, Taiwan is an incredibly important island for the United States. All of this together makes China quote, the only country that has the intent and power to actually challenge the US-led global order and rewrite global rules and norms, something the US has gotten really comfortable doing over the last 70 years.
This is insane. But is this not surprising at all for any reason? Especially for them growing. They have the biggest population density in the world. So why are people, surprised?
Surprised about what?
Did they want to run shit?
Yeah, and they're the main country that's building everything around the world for a lot of industries. So you don't think they could?
I mean, I feel like this isn't anything new. Always in the world, one country trying to get the most power.
Yeah.
So I mean, we can't. It's not. I can't knock them for that. We supposed to be the best, so we got to zip them. And that's what it is. And if we can't, then they the best. Then that's what it is.
It's to get a president in there to ally with them.
When we watched a video that said we made them like into the global power that they are in.
Yeah, we did. We did watch a video about that.
We added them to something over Mexico, and then they got like a bunch of infrastructure and stuff, and it grew there. It was that one dude's video.
That's where we outsourced everything in the United States, bro. Why we couldn't do it from our own sovereign countries? Well,
I forgot. Somebody just said that they want to do that.
Because you ain't got to pay them nothing. They can make iPhones for $1 a piece.
Remember they said a president or a candidate said that he was trying to make all our goods be in America? Who said that? Do y'all remember?
Wait, what candidate said that?
Who? Yeah, a candidate
Oh,
said
I
that.
think they were saying, I think that was Trump. That was Trump on the live.
It was either Trump or Vivek. Yeah, it was one of them on the live.
I know Trump
Remember
been
when he was
saying,
live that day? He said, I'll do this to China. I'll raise the tariffs. And
Yeah, he said he'll have it done in like 24 hours.
he
something
said,
like that, but
6 months or something.
Somebody said something about goods. They were trying to make that, we use all
Yeah, I
our
think he's going
goods
to
in
put
the United
tariffs
States.
on the stuff.
but it's kind of, I'm going to keep it 100, doing trade with China right now. It's kind of high tariffs already between.
No, I think he's going to try to hit them with high tariffs too now.
Yeah.
If he becomes.
But wouldn't that kind of hurt us?
Yeah, everything. There's always a
So, like,
trade-off.
I hope
There's
they
always
get it
a trade-off of
resolved. I
some
just
sort.
hope it's not a war that happens because that can affect everyone.
And I ain't trying to go do that, man.
I definitely
That would affect everyone.
don't think
man.
we should.
I'm
go
gonna say
to
I'm
war.
gonna be at the base. I'm gonna be strategizing.
What happened they built
In America.
What happened if America decide to build the infrastructure in Mexico and advance their civilization and we could just be under,
I didn't say advanced their civilization. What you mean? They not like in the dark ages down there.
But like Mexico
The
City,
cartel runs Mexico, man. We
Yeah.
can't go.
they
we
got
can't
a lot
do
of
So how
shit
does that
with
help
them.
us
They got a
though?
lot of internal issues.
There'll be a
because we could put industries right there and then it'll be cheaper and then they could just have more truck drivers make more money.
But then the cartel gonna come take over that bit.
That when you're gonna have to send your boys from our military boys down there to.
But you
I
don't
don't
know
think that's a
exactly
bad
who
idea.
in the cartel. That's a problem with the war with the cartel.
You
They
don't
ain't
know.
running around. I'm in the cartel. They got regular clothes. So if you go in there, the military, you might shoot innocent people or cartel. That's why it's hard. You find an army, you don't even know exactly who in it.
All of this together makes China, quote, the only country that has the intent and power to actually challenge the US-led global order and rewrite global rules and norms, something the US has gotten really comfortable doing over the last 70 years. So this is why the US considers China the most consequential strategic competitor for coming decades. And they've created a plan to respond. And in their words, we cannot delay. They give themselves this 10-year window to implement some major changes. And this is what it looks like. Okay, first things first. The US military is already very present in Asia. We've got about 8,000 troops in Guam. We've got over 100 bases in Japan with about 21,000 American troops on the mainland and another 24,000 stationed down here on the Japanese island of Okinawa. Go up to South Korea and you'll find 22,000 US
stationed here,
troops.
guys.
And then you've got the US Navy who operates out of this port in Singapore. This has been the status quo in Asia for decades, and it has been the way that the US has ensured security for its allies. And it's kind of mostly worked to help secure American interests and deter conflict. The US has maintained strong alliances in this region. And frankly, the Pentagon has kind of been distracted with other things. 2 wars that happened in the Middle East over the past 20 years.
My fellow citizens, my fellow citizens, my fellow citizens.
But as those conflicts wind down, and as China militarizes, the Department of Defense says that this status quo, all of these troops in Asia, it's not enough. They talk about this new kind of deterrence. Integrated deterrence. The only kind of military posture that will actually keep China at bay. And this is what it looks like. The smallest part of the strategy has to do with American bases. They're going to reopen a base in Guam and move some troops there. But the majority of this strategy has to do with American allies in Asia. Allies that are in lockstep with the US's goal to deter and contain China. The Pentagon calls partnering with its allies the center of gravity for this strategy. So let's start with Japan, one of the US's closest allies in the region. Japan is a country that is deeply concerned about a more powerful China, with its massive navy and its ambitions to
China's
control
huge.
Taiwan. And it's very easy to forget that Japan isn't just this. It's actually all of this.
How the hell is Japan one of our biggest allies and we dropped a bomb on them?
That's a good
Because
question.
they bombed us first. They came and bombed
Yeah.
Pearl Harbor.
Yeah,
Hawaii.
Pearl Harbor. Yeah.
So we just replied.
But
But
with
we
a
didn't.
nuke,
And I think that they didn't know the nuke would be that bad.
Yeah, that's around the time when it was like, all right, we're not gonna do this anymore.
Yeah, we like, can't do that again.
that's
I think we're the
crazy.
only country to actually drop a nuke on someone.
and then we have internment camps and all that stuff during that time as
Yes,
well.
in America they did because they were like there's a lot of backlash from the bombing of Pearl Harbor.
That
Yeah, they
is-
were like real racist to Japanese.
I wouldn't expect that just to say that's our biggest ally. That's crazy to me. That's crazy because
That is very
smooth
interesting.
things over since then because they make cars and all type of stuff and they have all type of exports and stuff.
but they got like some civilians that's really still like messed up behind that. Like
Nah.
some people are still affected by that radiation right now to this day.
Really? Is that a fact? Can you confirm that?
Look it
I
up.
don't have my phone.
My brother actually went to go over there. He's in the Air Force, guys.
Yeah, I had a friend that I went to
my
Emporia
shit-
with. She was stationed in
my shit
Japan.
dead.
My
on a
homie's
boat
stationed there
in the
right now,
Navy.
actually, in the Air Force.
Some people like it. Some people love it.
They've done studies on it.
That's kind of
I'm not seeing any like hardcore
I
evidence.
don't see how that would be possible.
But I do see several studies done on it. But you know, studies be long.
These islands curve nicely all the way down till they hit Taiwan. All of these are Japanese islands. I mean, if you look at Japan's national defense strategy, translated into English, you will see something that looks strikingly similar to what the Pentagon released. They're both really freaked out about China, and they both are ready to act in lockstep to deter a more aggressive China in the region. So it starts up here with that island that we talked about at the beginning, Magashima, this new military base and airstrip to be used by both Japanese and US militaries. Further south is Amami Island, where Japan has recently added long-range missiles and anti-ship missiles. Potentially they're gonna add cruise missiles. These are missiles that they're buying from the United States. These are missiles that are definitely in range of the Taiwan Strait. Next in the chain is Okinawa, where the US has a
Oh, yeah, shit finna
huge
get
presence of
hectic.
tens of
Yeah,
thousands
we
of
on their
troops.
ass.
China tried to invade
Japan
Taiwan.
also has military
Yeah.
bases here and is adding even more long-range
to stop this
missiles
shit.
and electronic
We on their
warfare
ass.
units. They're military installations meant to disrupt and deny communication signals. On these two islands down here, they're adding
need
even
you boys.
more long-range missiles, which could potentially be used to attack Chinese naval ships and aircraft. And Japan is placing nearly 600 troops on Ishigaki as well. And finally, you've got this last militarized island in the chain, Yonaguni. It's the closest island to Taiwan. And here Japan is adding more of those electronic warfare units, which are used to jam communication signals.
What's that on Call of Duty?
On their
What is that called?
communications,
Radar
and
jammer.
they're right next
Man.
to China. Japan is also
And
positioning
that's the
more troops
UAV
here.
counter.
So this is the first part of
something
our
like that?
chain. And when paired with training that Japan and US troops are doing to simulate island and amphibious warfare, it sends a really strong signal to China that Japan is ready to respond if needed. This line also serves as like a physical barrier that any Chinese ship or submarine would have to pass through in order to access the Pacific Ocean. It's a line that Japan can easily control and monitor.
that's
And it also builds a
smart.
wall of missiles.
They got
Any
Japan
calculus
and
that
US.
China is making on whether or not to invade Taiwan or to do anything in the region will have to now factor in this wall of missiles ready to roll. Overall, this increased military presence on this chain of islands gives Japan, and by extension the United States, the ability to monitor communications and troop movements of China, preparing them to act quickly. And it also gives them the ability to pre-position troops and supplies throughout the region, which is a major logistical advantage. But all of this comes with a massive price tag. So Japan, which is formerly a pacifist nation without like a huge military, is actually planning to double their defense spending. They're spending way more on buying weapons.
So China
than they
and
ever
Japan
have
ops?
before. And 97% of those weapons
They look
are
like
coming
it.
from
They
the
blue.
United States.
They're our biggest
The
allies.
island chain strategy continues down here with the Philippines, close to Taiwan and close to the South China Sea. The US knows that it needs to bolster its presence here, but it's not as straightforward as it is in Japan. the Philippines was a US colony for decades. It's a very sensitive history. And even after Filipino independence, the US maintained a military presence in the Philippines until like the 90s. And then they eventually kicked out the US, as many saw it as just an enduring legacy of US colonialism. But a more aggressive China has become a major threat to the Philippines. Now listen, I'm not going to go into like a full South China Sea thing here, but just know that China claims all of this as their maritime boundary. It's literally a line with 9 dashes that some Chinese official in 1948 drew by hand on a map. This line blasts through the boundaries that the rest of the world recognizes as the Filipino territorial waters. So there's a conflict in the ocean. And now, on a daily basis, Filipino fishing vessels are harassed by Chinese military vessels who threaten them if they don't leave their waters. In 2022, China put a temporary stop to all fishing in the South China Sea, denying the Philippines' ability to fish in the West Philippine Sea, which is rightfully their waters. But it's crazier than that. The Chinese Navy is like full-blown just bullying the Philippines. They like show up with lasers to harass and blind Filipino ships. I mean, let's remember, the Philippines is a much smaller nation than China and doesn't really have a navy even close to what China has. So now they're in this impossible decision. They have to choose between giving up their sovereignty and fishing rights to their aggressive neighbor, China, or partnering with their former colonizer who also wants to repel China. And in this case, they chose the latter.
China has pushed too hard. It's pushed the Philippines in the South China Sea, what they call the West Philippine Sea.
But the Philippines is planning to boost its military presence in the disputed South China Sea.
It started in 2014 when they allowed the US back in for the first time in 22 years. The US presence will technically be in bases that are owned by the Philippines, but the US can have troops, build barracks, and other military installations, and can have pre-positioned supplies there as well.
So they
basically
agree with
like the US has bases there, but it's like, shh, it's actually the Philippines. And as part of all of this that we've been talking about, in late 2022, they expanded their agreement, giving the US military access to 4 more bases, bringing the total number of bases on the Philippines.
Well, we can't say
and look where they
Joe
selected
was
to
on
put
top
them,
of this,
here in the north of the country, strategically close to Taiwan, and helping fill their gap in their island chain that they're creating. This now allows US to have a military presence really close to Taiwan. The US trains very closely with their Filipino counterparts, making them ready to respond very quickly to an invasion in Taiwan, while also repelling Chinese bullying of Filipino fishing activity. Okay, so now the island chain is filling out, giving the US and its regional partners a solid blockade to the Pacific. And it continues all the way down around the South China Sea because of the US presence in Singapore. This is a very united front, but it doesn't stop here.
Vietnam been real quiet.
The last part of the strategy is potentially the most significant,
zipped
and it
already.
has to do with Australia, a country
Back
that
in
is
Nam.
also alarmed by China's rise in the region. So there's this military pact between the US, the UK, and Australia. It's called AUKUS. What it means is that these 3 countries will work together to create a unified submarine force that will patrol the Pacific. First, what it means is that the US is giving nuclear submarine technology, its most powerful and advanced weapon, freely to Australia. Here are the designs to our most powerful weapons. Take them, foreign country. And then the US and UK will base submarines out of this port here in Australia. It's called Perth. Australian sailors will ride alongside US and UK sailors during submarine deployments. They will learn together, they will work together, they will share classified intelligence. What this means is that there will be a significantly larger number of submarines patrolling these waters. And remember, these are nuclear-powered submarines, which we made a whole video on as well. These things can be underwater for months. They can go on these long patrols over to Taiwan and the South China Sea. They can close up these key choke points, plugging holes in their growing line against China. And crucially, we can be pretty damn certain that a lot of these submarines will be carrying nuclear weapons, adding yet another layer of deterring power to an already really powerful line of defense.
Sounds like
and
China
if this wasn't
handled.
enough, Australia is also building a pearl
So
air
if we
base.
doing this, you don't think they doing something too? They
Oh
probably
God, they got that big ass
Man,
country.
they probably like, man, them little ass islands, man, we finna blow that bitch. Man, we got
Right.
one thing for them little ass islands. Them islands too damn little.
They
China
probably
too damn big.
They probably up there with Russia.
But
Like, man, what y'all
you
trying to do?
controlling their ports because are they landlocked other than that?
Remember, this is what I'm thinking about. Do they
Russia,
have another
up there
way
in
out
Russia.
to the left of the sea?
But that's another.
That's
country.
why they
Russia's
messing-
having trouble with Ukraine.
Let me see something.
But I think that's why they have.
Let's look at the maps. Right
If they in allies,
Can China move around to the left? If they can't, then.
Okay, let's see. Okay, this is China.
So
Yeah,
they
so
can't go
no,
to the
this
left.
is their ocean.
Oh yeah,
Where
we
looking
might
at?
be green.
Yeah, there's Taiwan. And all that.
They might
but
move
go
out
up,
to the top.
go up north by Alaska.
Oh, yeah, they got to go all the way through Russia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not happening.
But
we
they
might be
is
straight.
allies.
They're
Though.
not allies.
Yeah, they is working with each other. Ain't they all under bricks?
I thought they were working.
They all under bricks right now,
We
bro.
watched some video that said that they were starting to like they used to not be cool, but then like some with the U.S. and they started to
They-
like
it's bricks.
get
That's,
cool with
that's what
each
I think they
other.
made right now.
Now if they team up,
They have already.
if Russia
think
team,
they have,
if they
bro.
team up,
I think
that would
it's
be-
them.
Look
I
it
think
That would be
Look it
breaking
up.
news, bro.
Look it
they
up.
have.
Let's
It's-
not speculate. Let's Google it. You
Look
got
it
your
up.
phone,
It's
Google
them,
it. I
Saudi
think I
Arabia.
have it. You
He
have
don't
your
got
phone,
it.
though?
He don't. He's dead.
It's them, Saudi Arabia. Some of the African countries have joined them.
You know what's crazy? Russia actually just forgave Africa countries of all their debt, like $62 billion in debt, and they gave them some money on top of that.
I know they have a clique now. They ganged up. They gang,
April
gang.
12th, 2023, foreignaffairs.com.
Gang. They bricks.
Basically, the closest they've been in 100 years, but they don't have
So they just locked in.
So what was it? What was that?
but they
What's
might
with
come to one.
I think Saudi Arabia joined with them, bro. I promise you, it was like,
I don't think so. The Middle Eastern countries are neutral.
man, I seen where they had the Middle Eastern country.
I remember watching some
Bro,
video.
we watched the video
Little
on
ass
how
country.
how they're moving towards the
Yeah, they're
yuan,
getting closer. I think they're
like
getting
the
closer.
yen, but they're not together. None of them are in allyship. That would be like breaking news. That would be a problem. I know the Middle Eastern countries are trying to remain neutral because all these countries need oil. Where does oil come from? So why would they pick a side? And we're one of the biggest buyers of oil.
I think oil is in multiple places in the world than just the Middle Eastern.
Okay, we went
but
to
they
war behind that shit.
I actually seen
They got
something
a
that
lot.
people
Yeah,
are
bro,
finding
come
a lot
on
of
now.
resources
Where
in
you think-
Africa now.
Where do you think the money for the live golf
what
and the
it is.
soccer teams out there is coming from? That's oil.
Yeah,
money.
I know it's oil. Yes.
They paying people billions of dollars. No other industry is doing that. No other country is able to do that but them. That's coming from oil.
Man, so you feel like if your country got a lot of money, y'all can go to war with anybody.
If you got enough people and enough money.
I don't know. You gotta.
I feel like you gotta have an ally,
It's not enough
man.
money. You
And
need the
allies,
military
yeah. You gotta have
strength.
strategy.
Yeah, you
You
need
gotta
the
have a
strategy.
good general,
Like
you
you
know.
could just have money, like and just I'm gonna go attack you.
Yeah, because
yeah.
what's the
That's what I'm
richest
saying.
country in the world?
That's why
they not zipping nobody. If
They
they
too
if we
little.
really wanted to, we could run in they shit and take all their bread.
Who you talking
They
Dubai?
too little.
No, I think it's like a Luxembourg or something like that. Let me
It's a
see.
European country.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's why them
We're-
little ass countries
it's worth
just be
a
like,
Google.
I'm cool. Like Switzerland and shit. I ain't never heard them beefing with nobody.
Yeah, they're really.
Yeah, Luxembourg. Yeah,
They're just like, man,
it's only 634
we ain't finna
thousand
get
people.
into all that. But the Philippines, they right there by China, so they ain't got no choice to be like, man, they bullying our ass. We need y'all, United
But
States.
yeah, all these rich countries. Yeah, if the U.S. wanted to,
So you telling me? Hold up.
I think it goes down. You gotta have a lot of
But
people.
China
You gotta
big
have
as
a
hell.
smart system. You gotta have good alliances.
China's big as hell, so that's
Yeah,
a
no, we
problem.
scared of China and Russia combining. That would suck.
I think they have, bro. Like they made something called BRICS, bro.
Look-
like
BRICS up.
Look
Look
at
up
that,
BRICS.
bro. What
Look
is
up
BRICS?
BRICS. I
I'm
think-
pretty sure that was a money thing.
I think yeah, with the currency, that's pretty much the same.
Well, that's not an ally, boy.
It says you dealing with money. I'm putting
But they
money
got
in your pocket. If I
close
put money in
relations.
your pocket,
Look it
we're,
up, bro.
we're friends,
Look at that,
nigga.
I mean, that don't mean you're gonna go to war if they go
Yeah,
to war.
facts. That don't make
That's a
you
different
allies,
type of
bro.
thing.
Because we do business with hella countries.
That's what I'm saying.
That we probably wouldn't go to war for.
Damn, this shit's deeper than I think.
Oh yeah, but we talking about the military. You really do got to be smart.
Well, it's economics. So BRICS is a group in the world economics of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South African, formed by the 2010. Yeah, it's called BRICS.
But what is it though? Like it's not a.
It's
not
like
like
it's
a
like
war
it says it's an ally. There's BRICS allies. It says it's an ally. That's why I have seen. Yeah, NATO's are.
It is a powerful grouping of the world's leading emerging market economies, namely Brazil, India, Russia, China, and South Africa. And their mechanism aims to promote peace, security, development, and cooperation. Well, India is not in the Middle East. That's in Asia. Neither is Brazil. That's where is Brazil? South America?
South
Read this
America.
one below. Read this one below. Unlike NATO.
It says, unlike NATO, BRICS countries include India and China, which are both in the group spite of their border conflict. The bloc is like a proper bus moving and stopping to take anyone. The EU, 27 members, the NATO, 31 members, and the world, about 200 states.
I think what we read, right? They got they closest they've been in 100 years. So they are probably close to probably coming to like maybe like we got a
But
war
they bringing the economics in it. So
that's probably part of
It
it.
says BRICS is widely considered to be current or emerging superpowers.
I think we're gonna watch another video one day where he kind of this same guy
Here it is.
explains
BRICS,
why would it be
here
a
it is
World
right
War
here.
III?
BRICS is an important
That's
source
my
of
question.
foreign direct investment in key areas such as mining, automotive, transportation, clean energy, financial services, and IT. So it's nothing to do with war or any of that stuff. It's money.
It just makes their relations closer.
They just do like relations.
So it does make
that's economics though.
Boy, that's not okay.
Military is still part of economics.
Look, does BRICS include military? While NATO is a military alliance, BRICS is not. BRICS refers to emerging countries with rapidly growing economies.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Like it would literally be national news if they teamed up. Like that's not a thing. That would be like
that would
be
be
a problem.
It would be a huge problem.
That would be a problem. Like Brazil is poor. They're one of the poorest countries. Like you can look that up. Their economy is in the shitter.
but what is everybody's why? That's what I want to really figure.
We
out.
want to run shit. We want to run shit the way we want to run it.
Yeah, but like, why we all can't just?
Because some
That
people are
ain't how it works.
getting everybody.
Be peace, man.
Everybody's
That's just all.
somebody's getting taxed.
People have different views of how things should be ran, bro.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
they
that's
want it done their way. They don't want to do it our way.
And whoever
So
got whoever could zip the hardest, whoever got the strongest military, decides how shit is ran.
Yeah, they could say, "Hey, if you get that from them, you got to tax them because I paid you the other day to get you some oil over there."
There's
to
all
make sure
types
you,
of different
Nah, this
shit.
could get really ugly though.
I'm gonna say economics.
These US bombers carry conventional weapons, but they also carry nukes. So now, US bombers carrying nuclear weapons will have a permanent home in Australia. There's gonna be a lot more military hardware in the Pacific because of this. Hardware that carries the most powerful and dangerous weapons we have. This is a very aggressive signal to China that the West is ready.
What's that?
So now, if you look at the whole thing, this whole chain, you see how robust this presence is. This is what that military official meant by transformative. The military name for this is the First Island Chain, and it is at the heart of the US and its allies' strategy to counter and contain China. And it's easy to see that this island chain, while protecting a lot of different interests for a lot of different countries, really centers on Taiwan. A major purpose for all of this militarization, the missiles, the subs, the air bases, the troops, is to prepare for conflict in Taiwan. And this is where we get to the paradox of deterrence. You prepare to fight so that you don't have to fight. All of this preparation might be just what is needed for China to decide that it would be too costly to invade Taiwan. But the other side of that paradox is that all of this looks an awful lot like overt escalation in a conflict. If you're China, this chain of islands is clearly your enemy trying to box you in, to monitor your every move. A superpower from the other side of the world flooding your region with more military hardware to stop your influence. It would be impossible for this plan to not contribute to a rising of tensions between the two superpowers.
That's crazy.
All this as
We're
the
close to
U.S.
South
prepares
North Korea.
for a potential
They better stop
conflict with
threatening
China.
shit.
How close
Blow their
are
ass
we
up.
to all-out conflict between the world's two largest superpowers?
继续沿着错误的道路狂飙下去，再多的护栏也挡不住脱轨翻车，陷入对抗冲突。
Chinese President Xi Jinping has already called this a policy of encirclement and suppression. And let's be honest, he's right. Whether you like it or not, this is containment. Old school Cold War style containment.
We're not playing with
It's
them?
hard not to see it when you look at this
damn about
map.
China.
And the Chinese foreign minister said that it would literally be impossible for China to not fight back, to take a move that retaliates against this move. Which means that if the US and its allies aren't careful with all of this, it may send a signal to China that now is the time to invade Taiwan, before all of this plan can fully be implemented.
Didn't they just
In that
try?
sense, this strategy
think so.
could provoke the very conflict that it is trying to deter.
Didn't they just try to invade Taiwan recently?
I think so.
I said something about that.
I saw something about that.
There's a lot of tension in Taiwan.
Let's see.
Pause it. Let's get it. Let's discuss.
Pause it real quick, Taj.
If I'm a military person, well, I ain't gonna scare my people in
I ain't
Japan.
gonna lie, man. We do.
No, they didn't.
They didn't. Okay. We do
Time
need-
magazine said April the 12th. Why they won't?
Well, we do need some China allyship for the imports and exports and business that we do with them. But I personally don't trust China. From what I've seen,
I mean,
in the news and stuff, I don't know. Like, it could be stuff that's led me to think this way, but
Yeah.
I just don't think that's a country that should be trusted.
But we is, going on their side and saying y'all niggas over with.
That's how it works.
That's how it works.
Shit.
They trying to take stuff.
We run shit.
We didn't do that with Russia.
We gonna come over there.
They try to go in Ukraine. We said, oh no, billions,
I can't
100
believe we
billion.
on their ass like that.
Ukraine, y'all need help? 100 billion.
You forgot what
We
country
swimming in
is?
their waters, man.
We went to Iraq.
Hey, this all world.
We pulled up to
That's
the
how they
neighboring
feel.
countries. We said, hey, y'all fuck with them more than that? Oh, here, let's do something. And now y'all can be cool with us.
We gonna all team up. We
gonna
gonna
team
ass.
up.
They want to invade y'all? Go get them home. We gonna
I don't know. I personally think these countries that are allying themselves with us because they don't trust them either.
They know what it
like,
is.
Look, like that might be a
They know who
problem.
Debo.
We don't want that
I
to
can
happen.
believe-
We know y'all cool. Let's do some business.
They are that close in they ops.
And I also think they cutting off. They're trying to cut off that water, right? So you cut off the ports, export,
yeah.
imports. So if they go to war, they can't get no export.
Oh
Import.
yeah, that's gonna be bad.
They gonna have a
Where they gonna fight at? That's what I'm trying.
But
But
to
y'all
before they
gotta
could
think
go to
about-
war, before they could
that's
go to
gonna hurt
war
us.
with anybody, they would have to do something to these countries, which would really anger their allies, their other countries that they're allied with, along with us. So boom, then you're gonna have a super world war because it's gonna be multiple countries coming to do something with China.
Yeah,
If we
I
have
thought
a
it was
war,
gonna be a nuclear war.
if we have a war with China, I fear for our country. To be honest,
Oh
with
my
you.
god! What?
Because so much stuff comes from China, even car parts. Think about what happened to the
Figure it out, bro.
Hellcats and the demons and
Nah,
all
I'm just
that.
trying to figure out what we gonna
Dodges
fight.
are
at.
American made, aren't they?
what
But they
niggas
get a
start
piece
hitting
from over
me.
there in China.
What if niggas start hitting me?
iPhone, like your little iPhone in your hand, we might not see that if they get in the war.
They get them stuff from South Africa. I thought China.
I thought it's made in China though.
Is it?
A lot of our
was
stuff
too.
is made in
What do y'all
China.
think's bigger, China or the U.S. land wise?
China.
Nope.
U.S.
Nah, bro.
I'm looking at it.
Oh well, I mean that's kind of. It looked.
The U.S. is bigger, but China got
More people.
Yeah, China has a problem with overpopulation. They do something with you can only have a certain number of children.
Yeah.
They be taking people's children.
Yeah, they
I
do.
just don't want soldiers dying.
They
for
got,
no freaking reason.
They got 1.1 billion. We got 337 million.
I hope we just don't send soldiers over there because of the pride, man.
Because of the what?
I hope a war doesn't start because of pride.
It ain't, man.
Yeah,
But I
man.
don't
I don't
think it
really
will.
know what to make of all
A
this,
lot of
but
people
this
got
is
to
very
agree
interesting.
for a war to start.
Yeah, this is very interesting.
Like Congress, the people got to vote on that.
Yeah, Congress
They ain't
declare
just go
war.
up and just go to vote.
Yeah.
we're
Just
gonna
go
be
to war.
we're gonna be so much.
People
dead.
have to agree.
But when we declare war, other countries gonna declare war.
No, if we declare war,
other countries have to declare.
then y'all let get y'all ass ready. They gonna have us doing entertaining like
They gonna
Michael
say,
Jackson at the war.
We
Or
need
like,
you niggas to perform for these.
who
niggas.
was it?
Hey, I'll be a journalism. I'll go up. I promise you. I have a cameraman.
They say y'all go up there, y'all entertain the soldiers. Y'all can stay at the base though.
I'll go up.
Start gyrating.
They gonna say we want y'all to react for the soldiers. We gonna
I'm be
up there
like, for
reacting.
sure. I'm gonna be like, y'all gonna give us the GI Bill after 2? I need all that. All the
Man,
benefits.
I just look. Man, I'm not cool with the war.
401k.
I just don't want a nuclear war.
I
That
don't-
would be
I don't
That's
wanna-
what's gonna happen. There ain't no other wars now, buddy.
I don't want to war at all.
Well, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep it.
What is
100.
that?
I think they're not gonna do no nuclear war.
It's
I
gonna
think they're
end the
just gonna-
world.
They just gonna have bodies keep falling until somebody feels
sucks.
bad for it.
I don't want that to happen.
They are going
though.
to drop a nuke.
But that's
next week.
politics,
If
so,
the
you know.
U.S. gets in a war,
Yeah, politics.
nuke will be dropped.
I don't want that to happen.
No, it's
I
not.
think.
No, it's
All
not.
right.
Think about all the wars we was at.
But this
We
is
was,
China.
no.
though.
I'm talking about that we was helping with other people's wars. If the U.S. says we declare war with China,
they're not gonna
nukes
drop
flying.
No, they're not dropping no nuke.
Yeah, bro. Nukes are different, bro.
Bro, it's different, bro.
But like I'm saying, I just don't want
Bro,
random.
we was
people
in
to be
Afghanistan and all that stuff, and
we
they
didn't
was,
declare war. We was helping other people,
but they could have been dead at everything until Trump
but
was
they
in office
didn't want to
and hit 'em.
bomb. They didn't want to bomb innocent people.
Okay, we have to figure out a video on
You heard what Trump
why.
said.
Like, what is the deep
My button
why
works.
between this, and why is it so much conflict going on right now? That we
Bro,
can
it's
find a
humans. Humans always gonna have conflict.
Nah,
like
definitely.
we just said, whoever want to run shit, feel like they should run shit, and if somebody else who big, it's like anything. You got two dudes who he can whip everybody, he can whip everybody. Eventually, they gotta scrap.
video. Yeah,
Somebody gonna drop their nuts.
Alabama and Georgia
man.
gotta play.
y'all let us know what y'all think out here, and send some more video links. I like when you guys put it in the comments. The video links are awesome, guys. Keep doing that. We're out of here. Hit us on Instagram.